And good morning, everybody. Welcome in to another edition of the Pattison Sports Show. I'm your host, James Scorza, with you, and with me, as always, is a group of companions on this very important Saturday. Joey Marks, good morning, buddy. Good to see you.
Good morning, James. Good morning, Philadelphia. It's a lot to talk about. A little bit of a gloomy, misty kind of Saturday, but we're not going to let it dampen our spirits. We're going to try to deep dive into the Philadelphia Phillies this morning.
Yeah, and it's gonna be all things Fightin Phils this on this portion of our show today. We got a jam packed show with you. So, like we always say, Joe. Obviously, since it's because it's the Phillies here today. So, where do we start? So, where do we begin?
Well, I want to start first with two quick announcements. Number one,
Mm-hmm.
next week there will be no show. My beautiful daughter has her first dance recital.
Nice,
It is she's been really working hard, and so I'm extremely proud of her. Number two, the
awesome.
idea of please check out Stream Punk Entertainment PA on YouTube. Me and James just launched our new show, Philly Fame Legends, and with our debut episode, we talked about one of the greatest Phillies to ever play the game, Michael Jack Schmidt. It is a great watch. You won't take you that long, and it'll definitely kind of pass the time, even in the gym or whatnot. So get on the treadmill, do your 5K and watch a little Philly Fame Legends. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. So,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
speaking, God,
No, I was gonna say, more importantly than anything like that, too, Joe, is that we've done this for a while. So if anybody hasn't seen this, like, finally come to fruition, please check it out, and also hit that
yeah,
like and subscribe button to our stations over at Hardcore and Street Punk Entertainment too. But like I said, Joe, we got a jam-packed show. So where do we begin with this Phillies team on this very important Saturday?
yeah. So the All Star game is fast approaching within like another
Yeah.
couple weeks and whatnot. The All Star voting already has started. So if you
Mm,
want to go and vote for your favorite Philly, they have links on the Philadelphia Phillies team page to go and vote 5 times for, you can vote 5 times a day. So you go and you vote for who you want to see in Atlanta this July. James, I'm going to start with this question. If you had to cast your vote,
mm,
and I'm going to say you get to send three Philadelphia
ooh,
Phillies to Atlanta,
mm-hmm.
three,
Three.
which three are you choosing?
Ooh, man, that's a good question. Um, You know, I thought about this a lot when you gave me this basically this script for the show here today. I said to myself, who would be the best three Phillies right now to come out of it to become all stars? I mean, obviously it's been a real shaky kind of season, but if I had to pick three, I would have to probably go with maybe two starters. I would say Zach Wheeler first and foremost because he's Zach Wheeler. I mean, you can't put
Yeah.
Zach you can't say Zach Wheeler without saying All Star in his repertoire. My second guy is Jesus Luzardo. I think he's definitely coming back around after a little bit of a sloppy kind of sluggish kind of. I guess he was a little bit sluggish the last couple starts, but he actually got his groove back. I think it was a couple days ago, so it's good to see him back in stride again. And the third one, I would have to go with, hmm, maybe a bullpen piece. Maybe actually, you know what? Maybe this will be something. Maybe like Kyle Schwarber will be somebody because like Schwarber's been like good this year. Obviously, I mean, he finally coming back around because it's finally June and he's finally starting to hit dingers again. So yeah, I mean, if I had to pick my three, I would have to definitely go with Wheels, Lozardo, and Kyle Schwarber.
Well, I hate to have boring radio, but you literally took my three. So that the idea that we're on the same page, it speaks to the topic of this whole show, and
Yeah,
that is, there isn't like a plethora of like outstanding talent from some of the guys we would expect, like a Trey Turner, a Bryce Harper,
right.
Christopher Sanchez, and so on.
Yeah, I
So
forgot
like
about Sanchez too. That's right.
Yeah, so like the idea that some of these guys have had some struggles and have had some hurdles to kind of jump over so
Mm-hmm.
far this season, it makes you kind of think, okay, would you put them in the all-star category right now? Probably not,
Mm-hmm.
because they've had some of the struggles. I mean, Alec Baum, he started at for the first 3 weeks, he was at 3 weeks to a month. He was basically batting at 200. In the
Mm-hmm.
past month to 6 weeks, he's been batting over 320.
Mm-hmm.
This is a guy that, okay, he's coming on like gangbusters. The same could be true for Trey Turner, and before Bryce Harper got hurt, you could say the same thing for Bryce Harper.
Mm-hmm.
But is
Yep.
that enough to put you over the finish line to be an all-star? And it could.
It
I
could.
Your consistency really lies within the 3 people you mentioned. Kyle
Yeah.
Schwarber has been on a breakneck pace when it comes down to home runs, on base percentage, and RBIs. This
Yep.
is another, and then Wheeler and Luzardo, even Luzardo, who had a couple struggles, for the last couple outings. The fact that he started this season kind of like on fire.
Mm-hmm.
Like we thought, okay, let's meet our expectations of what Lazardo's going to bring to the table because he hasn't pitched a lot because due to injury.
Mm-hmm.
So we did that, and I think honestly that when we did that, we said, okay, we're going to expect Tywin Walker like numbers. And then when
Yeah.
he comes
Right.
out and he does the exact opposite, we're like, "Wait, what? We have that guy? Like this is the guy we got?" Like, okay, but when he came down to earth, everyone all of a sudden kind of maybe said, "Okay, maybe this is the guy we really have." But, the last outing proved to me that like this has always been, and I think Caleb Coughlin um kind of said to him in a meeting, you just need to relax. Like you have the skill set, just let it fire. Like
Mm-hmm.
you don't need to overthink the situation. Just
Yeah.
let your skill set do all the talking.
Yeah, and that's the thing too with Luzardo too, because like obviously there's gonna be a couple games you're not gonna have your best stuff. Obviously, you think about the times when, like even like Zach Wheeler has a couple games that are like a little bit
Hmm.
like not head scratching, like God forbid,
Flunkers.
yeah, exactly. And I think the other thing too is that, I mean, it's a 162 game season. I mean,
Hmm.
obviously you're not going to be perfect every night and go for 7 innings and try to strike out 7 or 8 or even 10 like batters. I mean, obviously it's a different day and age of baseball that like starters don't go like if they like are having a great outing, like they don't stay out there long like they used to do. But overall, I mean, yeah, I mean, you nailed it on the head, Joe. I think that's the other thing too about it is that yeah, you're gonna have some clunkers here and there. You're gonna have some players that are gonna just yeah, I mean, they're gonna have some nights that they're gonna like yeah, some nights are gonna be struggles and some nights are gonna be good for them. But overall, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's what baseball is. I mean, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, like we always say.
I mean, here's the thing. I don't know if the day one of the season we would have looked and sat on these airways and said Lazardo's going to be an all-star. Like,
Yeah,
I
right.
don't know if we could have signed off on that because of what we knew coming in, like with his injury history and whatnot. We just, I guess, again, kind of metered our expectations. And I just feel like he's exceeded those expectations already. He's already exceeded his innings pitched from last season by a lot. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, for what it's worth, this guy is giving us our bang for the buck.
Mm-hmm.
And the other part of this is and I'm not saying it's wrong, but like this ought to kind of put like a fire under someone like Trey Turner, JT Realmuto, Bryce Harper.
Should.
It should put a fire under them because if they get snubbed away from the All-Star game, the thing that they should take away from it is maybe I haven't been playing up to my standard.
Right.
Maybe I haven't been playing up to the standard that's expected of me. And that another name we didn't mention was Nick Castellanos.
Yeah.
He's kind of like under that radar, but he's the guy reason why he's under that radar is because he doesn't do it consistently enough.
Mhm.
And so he's not the flashy name right now. Kyle Schwarber is the guy that's knocking the ball out of the yard almost every night, seemingly.
Yeah.
And so this is a guy who I firmly believe will um, get close to that Ryan Howard mark. If the Phillies re-sign him, Kyle Schwarber will get close to that Ryan Howard mark for most home runs in a Phillies uniform.
Yeah,
I,
definitely.
I am a firm believer in that because Kyle is just he doesn't seem like he's slowing down at all. I
Yeah.
mean, you brought it up a couple minutes ago. Like he started out slow in the first week of June, and we're like, wait, it's June, Kyle, it's June. It's
Right.
like, I know, relax. It's
I
a
mean,
whole month.
I'm
I
still trying to
got
figure
this.
out my footing yet. Relax,
Like,
guys.
relax,
Yeah,
guys. Pump
really.
the brakes.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you want me to hit home runs? Fine. I'll hit home runs. Like,
Yeah.
relax. It's not like the bat's going away. I'm
Yeah, dude, I
tired.
know.
It's a long season.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, and then after I think he had a couple of them too. So we got a
yeah.
couple comments here before we go one step further here. Mitch Kopsky joins us and says, "Good morning, guys. Good morning, Mitch." And also, like always, check us out. Like yours truly and my friend and my colleague Joey Marks on Fire Like an Eagle every Friday. And like we always say, hit that like and subscribe button, like we always talk about on our pages over at Hardcore Sports Network and Stream Punk Entertainment. And Philly Halftime checks in and says, "What is up, everyone? Good to see you again, Philly Halftime. Thanks for chiming in, my friend. I really do appreciate it." And he also has got another comment here about the Phillies. Says the Phillies have to play small ball, and if they do that, the home runs will come eventually.
Yes. I agree with that 100% because it's getting warmer. This team, because of the talent that they already have the home run talent. It's just
Mm-hmm.
laying there and wait. The thing that has always been missing is are you capable of adapting your, game plan for small ball when necessary? And I said this last week, James, is that look, it's it's easy. I'm not going to say it's super easy, but it's easy to hit home runs when it's hitting season, when it's warm outside. But when
Yeah.
games really matter the most, it's October, it's September. If those games are not played in 90-degree weather ultimately. And
Mm-hmm.
so you are left to have to adapt your gameplay as the weather cools down. So you got to make sure your bats don't cool down. So one of the ways to do
Yeah, that's
that is
true.
to be able to play both the long ball and the short ball.
Yeah, for sure. And the other thing too, like you basically said it best too, because you think about like the day and age of baseball happened last year around this time. They were starting to hit the ball off the cover of off the cover, and then August comes around and they forget how to play baseball. You know, it's
Yeah,
like sometimes. I mean, sometimes it's just like I mean, there's times. I mean, look, I love hitting season. I love when it like they start to
yeah.
hit the ball and start to like really make some damage out of it. But sometimes what really matters the most is that it's like it's good to know they're starting to step it up now. But if they can sustain it for another few more months until the early parts of October, when it really matters the most, that's going to be the big key here, Joe.
Yeah, if they could fill it up during the next 2 or 3 months, that's great. But like you have to be able to sustain success going into September and October. And if you can't and you think, okay, we got to put the ball over the fence, that's the only way we can win. It isn't. And when you go against certain teams, look, Mother Nature can 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 be the best defense on a baseball field. Like
Yeah,
we saw that in Sacramento, where it just hit like a wall and just died. And it was like,
yeah,
okay,
right.
what in the world? It was like Mother Nature knows how to play all the kinds of tricks to make life more difficult for a team that just relies on the long ball,
Mm-hmm.
especially when it comes down to cooler temperatures. But speaking of the long ball, I wanted to bring up. We brought up Kyle Schwarber a minute ago.
Mm-hmm.
My
Before
question.
we go any further,
Good.
Joe, I don't mean to interrupt you. I apologize.
Yep.
Philly halftime checks in. This is actually a very good point here too about the Phillies baseball too. Phillies baseball running has to be a lot better. Like the running of the bases basically has
Yeah.
to be a lot better. Because I'll say it right now, I do concur with that. What Philly halftime says about this. Excuse me. Um, I mean, usually when they get like a base hit, they try to play a little bit of hero ball. I
Mhm.
mean, it happened a couple nights ago. I think it was again. I think it was either Castellanos or it was somebody who ran to second, but it was like it looked like it was a single, but he tried to transfer it into
Double.
a
Yeah.
double. Yeah, and I said to myself, yeah. After a while, it's like, dude, like just. I mean, you're on base. Like, why you got to be cute? You know?
Well, and I also look at it like this. I think it was whether it was last night or the night before, the game before.
Yeah.
Otto Kemp, like he was on second, he held
Right.
up, he kind of froze, and then he still went home. And when he went home, he got tagged out at home. Look,
Mm-hmm.
there's cardinal rules when it comes down to base running.
Mm-hmm.
One is don't get thrown out at third and don't
Right.
get thrown out at home. I
Sure.
get it. You could get thrown out at second if you're like, Castellanos or Bryce Harper and you think you're faster than you think you are.
Sure.
Sure, I can get that. I can live with getting thrown out at second even though it shouldn't happen. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
But
Right.
getting thrown out at third and thrown out at home, that's just not there's you need to
Plate
fix
discipline.
that.
That's
Yeah.
plate discipline's like a big key in that. You know, you gotta be better than that. It's the same thing in football. I mean, usually, I learned this strategy about football is like when you turn your head and you try to catch the ball
Yep.
before the ball arrives. It's the same kind of scenario too.
Yeah, it's and here's the thing. I didn't play secondary, but like I know this from playing defense when I was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
The coach would always from the sideline because in high school you're still kind of learning the game in football.
Exactly.
The coach would always yell at the corners, "Look back," like there should be a timer. So when you go and you're covering a guy on a pattern, you can look at the guy for like you count the three Mississippi, and then once you get the three Mississippi, turn your head back to the quarterback without losing your the guy you're covering
Losing your
because
edge.
right, because then you give the referees the benefit of the doubt that you're looking back at the ball. Even if
Right.
the ball's not coming to you, you're giving the referees a benefit of the doubt. And so, yes, there is a fundamental truth that you have to kind of do things. You have to have a little bit of like spatial intelligence when it comes down to what you do on a field. Like
Mm-hmm.
in baseball, it's about okay, if they didn't catch the ball, am I going to make it with the arm that they have? This is where video and scouting really comes into play. You have to trust your instincts. I remember it was
That's
one.
true.
I was remember one quote that Ricky Henderson said is that if there were certain guys in the outfield, he would have a list of certain guys in the outfield for each team. That if that player caught the ball at a certain distance, he knew that if he was standing on second, and he said, I'm always standing on second, but if he was standing on second, that depending on the distance and depending on the player, he knew that he could always get home. He didn't even look at the coach, the third base coach. Like that's the difference is like you understand who your opponent is and what the skill set is that they have. And look, if they throw you out with a BB, fine. That's different. They have to make the perfect play in order to throw you out. That's fine. But when you're making foolhardy decisions, thinking, yeah, I got this by a mile. No, you got it. You got it. It's better to hold up and pass the baton, especially with this lineup. And that's something that they need to correct. That's part of the small ball.
Yeah.
People might not realize that, but that is part of the small ball.
Yeah, and the other thing too, Philly halftime talks about here too is that the Phillies what they have to do when they have runners on base, obviously, is like when it's a sacrifice fly,
Yeah.
like you got to tag up, obviously, and I agree with that too. I think
Yeah.
that's and the thing that drives me crazy about this team, Joe, it's that they got the talent and they find ways to keep it in all arm's length about it. But the one thing that really annoys me is just that they try to be really like it's like game 7 of the World Series. Game is on the line, down one, and you need to tie the one. You need to either tie the game or the game is over and the series is over. You know.
Well, I go back to what we started with this expectation for this season. Like we talked about this in the beginning before the season even started. The expectation is World Series or bust.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think in some ways, and this is why I am worried about this team. I still have
Yeah, man.
confidence, but I'm worried because I feel like these guys have been playing tight since the beginning of the season. I think they've been playing tight because they think, oh, if we do this, everyone will let everybody down. Let me
Mm-hmm.
just take everybody let me just take the Phillies off the hook for a minute.
Sure.
There's a good selection of fans in the fan base right now that has high doubts that this team is going to make the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
So I would start to believe that yes, you always want to believe you're going to make it to the World Series and be champions. I
Mm-hmm.
get that. But you got to start to kind of take yourself off the hook a little in order to play loose. That's one of the reasons that I loved Charlie Manuel.
Yeah.
He kept the with the personalities he had in that clubhouse and the way he ran the clubhouse, he kept that clubhouse loose. I
Yeah,
think
man.
Rob Thompson doesn't have the charisma to keep it loose. He's too stiff. And I
Well,
think you need to kind of just that's why I liked the daycare because I think they kept it loose.
well, the other thing too about it too, like about that 2007 to 2011 Phillies team, it's that I mean, Charlie Manuel had like the team like basically saying like, "I want you to pour your heart out every friggin' night,"
Yeah.
without saying it. I mean, I think Topper is like that, but I think Topper is just like a little laid back with that. He's
Yeah.
like sometimes he wants the best out of you, but if you play like shit once in a while, I mean, sometimes you have to like put your foot down and say, "Okay, you did this before. I'm going to sit
Yeah.
you down now." I mean, it's kind of like it's not like you're being like I guess it's not like you're being rude to the guy that somebody's on discipline at the plate. It's just like I want you to play your best, like I mentioned, every friggin' night.
Yeah, and here's the thing. With Topper in comparison to Charlie Manuel, I think
Yeah.
that you have to kind of look at it like Topper can say the same kind of things as Manuel did,
Mm-hmm.
but it's how you deliver the message and how
Right.
you reinforce the message. If Topper says it once or twice, like yeah, I tell him they have to play their hearts out. Like it's different than Charlie's like, damn it, I tell them to play their hearts out because man, they ought to, and
They
like
ought to be.
that's different. Like the tone, the way it's delivered, the messaging, everything. I also think that this is why I don't always blame Topper for everything.
Mm-hmm.
You have stars on this team, they ought to be able to police themselves a little. And I don't feel like they always do that. Like guys like Bryce Harper that say, okay, we're going to abolish the daycare and we're just going to play as business as usual. There can be a little bit of both. You can have fun and still be business like. I look at the Eagles, like you can have fun and still be business. Like you could still, be laid back and fun and enjoy yourself, but put a whooping on the other team. Sure, you can. And so, like, that's where I think the Phillies really need to get to.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's the thing too. And the last thing we'll say about this too, about the whole I mean, the daycare thing. I mean, yeah, you gotta have fun while you can because obviously, if you play like you're, I mean, obviously, if you're winning and you're starting to have like a feel like something special's about to groove here. I mean, obviously, you want to say, okay, if you just like stand there and say, well, we can't have fun, but we have to focus on a World Series, then you're gonna have your head out your head. Then it's gonna be like gonna be like a chicken without its head. It's like,
yeah,
I mean, sometimes it gets like a little dicey, especially with the celebrations. But overall, I mean, if it works, I mean, and the team, I mean, you don't want to be like, obviously, you don't want to do it like in Moneyball when they were losing, and Brad Pitt's character, Billy Bean, was like, is losing fun. I mean,
yeah,
the team is actually having a little bit of fun, but you also have to have fun in the clubhouse too. Kind of, I mean, not like '93 Phillies like fun, but still, I mean, you got to have fun while you can.
yeah. And I mean, I look at like what I saw from Saquon Barkley. Like
Yes,
when we won the NFC Championship and the World and the Super Bowl,
exactly.
Saquon's in there with a cigar and a beer and just having fun. So like that can be close to the '93 Phillies, but not to the level and extent that John Kruk would throw him back.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So but getting back to like Kyle Schwarber and the home runs.
Mm-hmm.
The home run derby had Alec Baum last year.
Mm-hmm.
My question is, would you have Kyle Schwarber perform in the home run derby this year?
Uh,
Now
well,
I'm gonna preface this, James, because you may remember this history. Whenever
yeah, I
there's been
do,
a
I do.
Philly that has gone into a home run derby and possibly won it,
Mm-hmm.
they've had a lousy second half of the season.
Yeah, yeah, it's like yeah, no, not gonna lie to you, Joe. Gonna admit,
Yeah.
because I was like saying to myself, okay, you think about last year with Alec Boehm in the home run derby, like you brought up here, and the second half of the season, he looked like crap. He didn't look
Mm.
well. Schwarber
Ryan
on the other hand,
Howard, Bobby
yeah, right.
Abreu.
Ryan Howard, yeah, right. Bobby Abreu, how about that, right? How about
Yep.
it? Reese Hoskins too.
Yeah.
I think Reese Hoskins started to struggle after
Yep.
that. But yeah, dude. I mean, like I said, yeah, no to me. I don't know if it's because it's that I want him to be more better. Like, because like obviously it's great he'll be in the home run derby and he's Kyle Schwarber. But honestly, it's like maybe I'll pass on that. Probably, I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. Like, what I like to see Schwarber in the home run derby so he can pound some home runs and do. And he's hit a lot of home runs in Atlanta, so he would be able to do it.
Yeah,
He's familiar with that ballpark. But the thing about for me is that I don't need him to win a home run derby championship. I need him to win a World Series championship.
got that
So
right.
you save that bat for our firepower. You can hit 50 home runs if you want. You just don't need to do it in a home run derby. Do
Yeah.
it for the Philadelphia Phillies, man. Do it for where it matters. And so I'm with you. I like as much as I would love to see it, I don't want to see it. And but I'm worried that they're gonna like ask him to do it and he'll do it because he knows he's good enough to do it, but he doesn't know like okay, Phillies that go into that world that home run derby don't come out the same way they came in.
No, they don't. What wasn't Jim Tomey in the home run derby back in the day too, and he started to struggle, or was that somebody else?
That was somebody else. That was so Ryan Howard had I want to say 24, 25 home runs when
Mm-hmm.
when he was in the home run derby.
Yeah,
Bobby Abreu didn't have a lot of home runs before he got into the home run derby. I think he hit more home runs in the home run derby he did that whole season.
yeah.
Like he was the one that kind of set the record in the home run derby for total home runs at one point. It's been since broken, but still, the idea that Bobby Abreu and Ryan Howard after those home run derby championships, they dropped off significantly. I
Yeah, they
don't
did.
need that. I do not need that with Kyle Schwarber. I don't
Yeah,
want that from Kyle Schwarber.
yeah, and you think about it too. This is actually a very good point here too. I think Chase Utley did it in 2008, and I think he dropped off after that too. After like not long after that too.
Uh,
I don't think it was that bad.
it wasn't that bad, but like his home run numbers kind of. You mean the 2008 2009 season?
Yeah, 2008. Yeah, like the last year at Yankee Stadium. That was the Josh
Yeah.
Hamilton like 32 home runs in the first
Yes.
round.
Yes. And like that was the thing is for Utley, I don't know if he just did it just to do it, just to have like his kids there and just
Yeah,
to do it.
yeah,
Like
I figured that too.
I don't think he went there with the notion I'm going to win this. And I
Right.
think a lot of if Schwarber wants to pull an Utley and go, I'm just doing it just to do it. I'm not going to really try hard. I don't
Yeah.
care. Like that's different, but I still like Kyle's a competitor. So I know once the Schwarbarian comes out, like that thing's gonna start clubbing them over the fence. I don't need that. Look, you got bullets in the chamber, man. There's only so many bullets in the chamber. I ain't trying to waste them on a home run derby. I'm trying to have those things like hit 3 home runs in one game in the World Series. I don't care.
Yeah.
That's better than the home run derby. But if you want to see Kyle Schwarber hit some dingers out of CBP, go get yourself some tickets from our great sponsor at GameTime.co. James, tell them more about it.
Yeah, Joe, today's show is sponsored by our friends over at GameTime.co. Calling all Phillies fans, need tickets last minute. Don't worry, GameTime.co's got you covered for all your Phillies tickets and so much more. You can check out your seat view and before you can snag on great discounts and snag on so much more at GameTime.co. But remember to scan that QR code at the bottom of the left of your screen right next to Kyle Schwarber and visit them online at GameTime.co today. That's GameTime.co today. And let's go, Phils.
Yeah, so here's where the biggest concern for the Phillies is right now. Bryce Harper and his injury. And
Yeah.
he had an elbow issue with Strider. Now he's got a wrist issue. My question to you, James, is we already know we have this guy on the books for
Mm-hmm.
many, many more years to come.
Yep.
Bryce Harper, it's proven that this lineup is different. It's different mentally speaking, it's different offensively speaking, it's just different without Bryce Harper in the lineup. So my next question to you is this. Without Bryce, do you have major concerns about Bryce Harper's health both this season and the other seasons moving forward?
Major concern, Joe. I think I'm really major concerned about this guy because here's the thing that I'll show you this stat here and I'll get my point across about this too. Because here's the thing that really surprises me with Bryce Harper. He's great when he's effective, and also when he's effective, he's a really good player when it really matters the most. But then I see his injury history. It's kind of reminded me of Mike Trout a little bit because
Ooh.
I don't want to sound like I'm being weird here, but you saw how great Mike Trout was early on in his career, and he
Yeah.
looked like he was a bona fide stud Hall of Famer, first class Hall of Famer.
Mhm.
And then seeing the level of injuries he had to deal with over and over again, and I'm going to show you these. I'm going to share you these injuries, and this has been going on for quite a while now. This isn't like this is not like these injuries have just happened like once in a blue moon. This is like going back to 2019 when we first signed him here. So this is a stat that I actually found out. I actually was looking it up myself. I said, like, how long has this been going on in that Ace song? Like, if you don't know what I mean by that.
Yeah.
So the thing is that his injury history. So the first time he got injured with the Phillies was on August the 18th of 2019 due to hydration. And then a couple weeks later on September 9th, he had a hand injury. The COVID year in 2020, he missed the rest of the 2020 season due to a lower back. He missed majority of some of the games and actually had 3 injuries in a matter of, man, he had so many injuries back in 2021. I'm going to read you down this list too. So on April 17th, 2021, he had the lower back. April 28th, he had his face injury. Remember when he got defaced? And that was a pretty bad injury on that one. May the 3rd, he had a wrist injury. This is all the same year, by the way. May 15th of 2021, same year, had a shoulder injury. May 25th, had the forearm injury. June 15th of that same year of 2021, he had to deal with a back injury. June the 26th, he was out with a foot injury. May 2022, he had an elbow injury. June of 2022, this is right around the time Topper was becoming the manager, so he had a forearm injury, and we all know what happened with Bedlam at the bank. Same year, June 18th, 2022, he had a blister. June the 25th of 2022, it was his thumb. That was, I think, it was the Blake Snell injury that he got hurt with that thumb injury. That's in 2022. So March the 3rd of 2023 comes around, and there's 3 injuries on this front. Happened on March of 2023 with his elbow. Uh, July 8th of 2023 with his arm. August the 10th, 2023 with his back. And then you got two injuries last year. He had a migraine on April the 14th of 2024, hamstring injury back in 2024. And this year, two injuries on his front, April the 27th, 2025, and the wrist injury he had going back to this year on June the 6th of 2025. There's like so many injuries that he had in the last 7 years, Joe. It's unbelievable to think that he's been injured for this long.
I'm astounded. I'm
Dude.
astounded because here's the thing that
7 years.
Yeah, you bring up Mike Trout. I'm gonna bring up another name, and it might make you disgusted.
I know where you're going at too.
This is Joel Embiid-esque.
Yeah.
This is Joel Embiid-esque. I mean, like, if it's not one thing, it's another thing. You know, and I look at it like this. Face. I heard wrist twice. I heard elbow 2 or 3 times.
It's
heard
like a
back
cover a bingo card, man.
Well, I heard back 3 or 4 times. I'm like, okay, like this guy's getting older, so he's only going to get, I won't say fragile, but he will get hurt more. I mean, that's just the nature of the game. Okay,
Yeah,
so now that you brought all this to light, and I'm glad you did, because I had no idea it was that vast. So now I have major concerns.
This is all on Fox Sports' MLB on Fox's page. So this is where I got it from.
Right.
And there's like a whole stat here on Fox Sports about his like injury history, even going back to. I mean, this is like going back to when he was with the Nationals. So talking like 7-8 years.
Yeah. So here's where I would here. Okay. So let's minimize our concern. Let's try to make ourselves feel better. Let's try to make everybody else out there feel better.
Try to help us cope, right?
Right. Because now we know the problem. We've established what the problem is. Now we have to take everybody, and now everybody else has got major concerns. So how do we try to, strategize to make this guy more durable? I wouldn't. Okay, well, first off, we can already eliminate one thing. We can't wrap him in bubble wrap. Like
No.
That's for one. Number two, you're not going to be able to tell this guy to slow down. You're not going to be able to tell this guy to take the foot off the gas. Okay, he's just not built that way. What I would honestly do, you got to start to meter when you play Bryce. And I'm not
he's not
saying
getting he's not getting old. He's not getting old. I mean, not getting younger. I mean, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, here's my thing. Okay, so he's out with these injuries now, or this injury now. All right, fine. He comes back. Do you play him every day? No. I think you got to treat him just as much as you treat JT Realmuto. If you're taking care of JT so he can be sustainable throughout the season, I think you kind of do the same thing with Bryce, even if Bryce doesn't like it. You can kind of protect him from himself. Like that is the bottom line. And look, I am not sitting here saying that I want him to turn into a Joel Embiid where he takes off back-to-backs and all that nonsense. I'm not saying that. But I think you got to protect Bryce from Bryce. And like, because this is a guy who, unlike Joel Embiid, wants to compete. Unlike Joel Embiid, he wants to be on the field. Unlike Joel Embiid, he wants to have a championship. This is a guy that as he gets older, there's one thing missing out of his legacy. And it may not seem like much. Like we talked about it yesterday with Fly Like an Eagle about Jalen Hurts.
Mm-hmm.
He's got one Super Bowl. Most quarterbacks would die for one Super Bowl. Like, if you ask Dan Marino right now, what's your one regret about your career? He would say that I didn't win a Super Bowl.
Right.
If you go back and you ask Donovan McNabb, what's your one regret? I didn't win a Super Bowl.
Right.
Like, there are good quarterbacks out there that would give their left arm for one Super Bowl. Now, look, I said this yesterday. I'll say it again, just to preface. he's not done yet. He's going to win more than one,
Hmm.
but he's got one under his belt.
Right.
Bryce has been this superstar for the Major League Baseball since he was 18. This is a guy who's already had a written legacy and will go down in infamy as one of the best players to ever play the game.
Correct.
However, that one thing is still missing. It's his crowning achievement. So he's got to figure out, okay, I got to protect myself. I'm not getting any younger, like you said, James. I got to protect myself and protect my team. How can I best do that?
Right. Yeah, I agree. And I think the other thing that really that sticks out to me the most, like since I brought up that injury history, I mean, you think about Joel Embiid. I was gonna say Carson Wentz, but if Carson Wentz was still around, he would be like Bryce Harper if he was dealing with so many of those injuries too.
By the way, by the way,
Yeah.
so we realize that there's been a debate of moving Bryce back out to the outfield, and
Hmm.
the only contention behind not moving him back into outfield is because we're supposed to be saving him from getting hurt.
Ain't gonna
He
help. It's not
It
gonna
hasn't
work.
helped.
It
I'm
doesn't
like,
help.
wait, what? Like, newsflash: James just ran off a list. Okay,
It's
Under, understand it's not working. It's
well,
not.
you know what it was? It was like that old Chris Jericho list that he had. Like it's like you
Yes,
just made the list.
you
Well,
just made the list.
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, listen, I think if Bryce goes back to the outfield, you free up a position on first base. Now, I get that the talks, and we're going to get into this in a minute, the talks about who we could trade for. Would it be Reese? Would it be someone that could be first base? Would it be Nolan Arenado? Would we move Alec Baum permanently to first base? Like, would it be Otto Kemp? We've been
Maybe.
putting Otto Kemp there. Um, you
Well,
know,
let me ask you this too: like when they brought up Otto Kemp here, you think that could have been a sign of saying, Harper's injuries are going to say like they're probably thinking like I don't know if they're going to say the words do we trust Harper to stay healthy? I mean, what was behind that, honestly?
well, I think it's a failsafe. I think they wanted to, because here's the other part of this that is still a missing in the equation.
Right.
Okay, so you brought Otto Kemp up. Okay, fine. But Aiden Miller is also an infielder.
Yeah.
And so you got to start to ask the question, are the Phillies trying to prepare for when Bryce starts to break down more?
Mm-hmm.
So Bryce will then become this guy that will have, like, I don't know, 100 games played in a season, or a certain amount of number of games played, but we'll have the when we go to the backup, like an Otto Kemp, or like an Aiden Miller or whatnot, that the talent level won't drop off drastically. Like, the skill of this team won't jump off a cliff,
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. And so, like, that's a good point. So I think Otto
Yeah.
Kemp is up here to see if he can hang, while Bryce. I mean, look at what happened. You're welcome, Bryce Harper, or thank you, Bryce Harper, because I look at Jeff Hoffman. Jeff Hoffman wouldn't have a job with the Blue Jays. He wouldn't have had a job with the Phillies for Bryce
That's true.
Harper having to rehab. So you're welcome, Jeff Hoffman. But here's my thing: could Otto Kemp do the same thing as Jeff Hoffman? Is Bryce Harper's injury giving Otto Kemp the luxury of being able to debut his skill set on the major league level and being able to show whether he can hang or not hang with them? And look,
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I'm impressed with the kid so far. It's not
He's been
like
good.
he's not like banging it out of the ballpark, but he is doing as much as he can, for a kid that's still very young, still very new. I'm just going to enjoy watching him for now, because I don't know when Bryce is coming back. We don't know when Bryce is coming back. Scott Fransky was on yesterday on the midday show talking about that there's no word down from the front office when Bryce is going to come back. He was taking fielding uh he was fielding balls yesterday, but he still hasn't swung a bat. Like he hasn't swung a bat since June 6th. So
Wow.
that's a problem. Like
Yeah,
that
man.
that that is a major problem. So
We're coming
you
up
know,
on 2 weeks already of that.
for what it's worth, Otto Kemp might be, writing his resume, much like Jeff Hoffman did, thanks to Bryce Harper. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like in the same kind of scenario. It's like we brought up before with Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts. It's like we thought, okay, why is Jalen Hurts here after you signed Bryce Harper? But no, not Bryce Harper. Why after you signed Carson Wentz? Then I mean, I want to think it's going to be like now it's going to be like Otto Kemp's job, and then Bryce Harper gets the door gets like hit, says like nice to know you hit the bricks and stuff. But the problem is I have with it too is that it's that even you tell me about that he hasn't swung a bat yet. It's just that this is the thing that drives me crazy about with Harper too. I mean, this is I was really bothered by. I'm not gonna lie to you, Joe, when he was doing these TikTok videos at X, Y, and Z in the off season. But I'm saying to myself, like, dude, get onto the baseball field and find a way to just. I mean, get off the social media platform. I understand you're bored out of your mind right now. There's no baseball. There's nothing you can do. I mean, like it's just that. I mean, in a way, it was kind of like he was pulling a Micah Parsons a little bit and trying to become an ass of himself, making a complete ass of himself.
You
And the
know,
thing, what's that?
here's my thing. So tell me if you think that this would work. Okay, so this is a guy that's making a boatload of money. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
he's got a boatload of money.
Oh my God, yeah.
So why not? Okay, so in Philadelphia or Jersey, wherever he lives, in the Great Northeast,
Mm-hmm.
in November, December, January, February, all those off-season months that there is no baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's too cold up here to go
Right.
outside and play. It's too cold to go, and fine. Okay. So
Yeah.
here's one of two things you could do. You could rent a warehouse. And there's plenty of them around Philadelphia, abandoned warehouses or empty warehouses.
For
Rent a
sure. Yeah.
warehouse and renovate it to be an indoor baseball field
Right.
and or batting cages or whatever. And you go and you buy it and you build it, and then when you're not using it, you can rent it out for people to have events. You can still make money back on the damn venture.
That's a good
You put
line,
your
man.
you make money back by putting your name on it. Bryce Harper indoor baseball facility. I don't give a damn what you call it. But you have that option because you have a family. You want to stay close to your family.
Yeah. I
Okay,
mean,
I understand that. The other option is have a second house, like in Arizona or California.
well, he lives in Nevada, don't he?
Well,
In the off
okay,
season.
fine. Then go to Nevada.
Yeah.
Like go to Nevada, like in the off season for like a couple weeks. Like fly back and forth. You have the money to do so. Fly back and forth. Get yourself. I agree with you. There are ways you don't have to be bored.
Right.
Like you can make yourself better in those months. How? Sharpening your skills. All right, you want to get back. The Phillies want to possibly put you back in the outfield. All right, get yourself back to being ready in the outfield. You're trying to make
Right.
yourself healthy again and keep yourself sustainable on the field. Figure out how to best do that.
Yep.
You're not
Yeah.
going to prevent every injury. I'm not saying you're going to,
No.
but you can do things to take care of your body. For
Yeah.
Christ's sake, if LeBron James can play until he's 50, like, and the guy takes care of his body enough, Bryce Harper, you could play at 33 or 34 without feeling like you need a walker going from the batter's box back to the dugout.
Yeah.
Let's get real.
I mean, the thing about it was too. I didn't mean to say Michael Parsons. It was more like Paul George, but the difference is, with
Mm,
Paul George, it was like his
Podcast feed.
podcasting. Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, the thing he's not doing that is a podcast and all that stuff. So,
Yeah.
but the TikTok videos with the soy milk and the banana breads, and it's just like, dude, get on. I mean,
If
you
you want
got
to
the
be
money.
Martha Stewart 2.0,
Yeah,
wait till you're done
exactly.
retiring.
Right.
So, speaking of Martha Stewart and all things gifts and crafts, this is as good as a segue as I can make, James.
Dude, that's
The
that's.
the shopping
I'm not
plaza
going
on
there.
the shopping plaza on eBay is your place to go. Father's Day is tomorrow.
Yeah, man.
So, first off, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out
You too, my
there.
brother.
Thank you. And 4th of July will be here in minutes. Uh, you know, right around the corner as well. If you want to get all your 4th of July holiday apparel, maybe you want to get early Christmas shopping done, ahead of time. Go to the shopping plaza on eBay. James, tell them more about it.
Yeah, Joe. Today's show is sponsored by our friends over at the Shopping Plaza on eBay.com. Has the holidays already stuck on you? Look no further than the Shopping Plaza on eBay for all your personalized holiday apparel needs. Like we mentioned, Father's Day coming up tomorrow, and also obviously this is a long ways away from like Halloween, Valentine's Day, and even Sanity Claus, like Marx Brothers will call it. But whether you're shopping for yourself or a loved one, or they have a wide selection of customizable items and has something for everyone at the Shopping Plaza on eBay.com. And go ahead and get your holidays started and scan that QR code at the top left corner of the screen, right next to Santa Claus, right there, or visit them online at the Shopping Plaza on eBay.com. That's the Shopping Plaza on eBay.com for more info.
So ho ho ho, hold up. Let's find out if
Well, it's
Alec
Christmas.
Palm.
Well, Christmas in July is coming too, so I
Yeah.
guess so. It's
So
probably
let's
something like
ho
that.
ho ho hold up and see if Alec Baum will be traded by the trade deadline. That's
Yeah,
my
right.
next question to you,
Oh, that's a good
James.
one.
Is will Alec Baum still be on this team after the trade deadline?
You know, I I don't know. I want to be honest with you. I'm not gonna. Like I said, these are very good questions to ask here, but because I got to be honest with you with Alec Boehm, like you want to talk about somebody that's like really hot. I mean, this is like the majority of the team of the Phillies this year. It's like when somebody's like red hot. I mean, they're like scalding hot and scorching hot, and then when they're like when they're cold, they're like really cold. And Alec Boehm is like one player that's like really like when he's hot, he's like red hot. But when he's cold, he's like stone cold, kind of like Castellanos a little bit, gonna admit. But overall, I mean, I would like to see what our trade options are for Alec Boehm to see if anybody would pick him up, obviously, because Aiden Miller's down there, and I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what like his stats are down in the minors, but I would bet he's having like good numbers, just like Otto Kemp came up here right at the right place, right at time, right when Bryce Harper went down with that injury. But more importantly than anything like that, though, I mean, I don't know if we should trade him because he's a great third baseman and he's really a real good defensive third baseman. But overall, man, his play discipline has to be better though. I think the thing. I mean, I haven't kept a close eye on how disciplined he is at the plate, but sometimes when he struggles a lot, and he gets in his head a lot too. Like sometimes when he strikes out a lot, he has a little bit of a not want to say semi meltdown, but more like he gets like really ahead of himself. And I'm thinking like
He gets a
obviously,
hissy fit. He throws a hissy
yeah,
fit.
yeah,
Like I literally I have a 4-year-old daughter,
mm,
and I brought her up earlier, and I tell you this right now, like the tantrums he throws at the plate when he strikes out are
oh dude, I
reminiscent
know,
of my 4-year-old daughter when she doesn't get candy before dinner.
mm,
It's just crazy. The idea that this guy is a professional ball player, he's supposed to be mature, he's supposed to be aware of, and let me put this out there too. We talked about Bryce Harper and him coming in at 18
mm-hmm,
and being a top round pick. And, Alec Baum was a first round pick. I mean, this
mm-hmm,
is a guy who was a top talented talent
mm,
in coming out of college. And
yeah,
you have to understand something is that this guy is turning into a ill-tempered version of Reese Hoskins. He's inconsistent at best. He has had his defensive blunders. And he also, where Reese and him are different is that Reese Hoskins doesn't throw a temper tantrum every time he doesn't get his way. Now, for me, I don't know if Alec Baum will be here at the after the trade deadline for one main reason. Not necessarily because of Alec Baum, because I feel like he's the trade piece. Him and Ranger Suarez are the two trade pieces, and maybe even Tywin Walker. I think if you get a guy that can help this bullpen, I think, for Alec Baum, I think that that's going to be significant. Um, that's going to lead me to my next question. But before we get into that, I wanted to just finish by saying this. If Alec Baum goes and gets traded, people will look at that trade as to say, why couldn't this get done before the season started?
Mm-hmm.
And I will say this, price tags tend to lower when the trade deadline happens because teams that are buyers want or sellers want to just get as much as they possibly can for the talent that they have laying in wait to try and get better. There could be a team like the Athletics, a team like the Blue Jays, a team like the Guardians, a team like the Giants that could want Alec Baum, maybe even the Cardinals. And I brought up Noah Arenado once before. The Cardinals are on that doorstep of possibly making the playoffs and potentially, trying to chase for a playoff spot. Alec Baum is not an upgrade from Nolan Arenado, but he's younger
Mm.
than Nolan Arenado. So the Cardinals could see Alec as a future for that team, a nice little bridge to the future.
Mm-hmm.
So if you ask me, yes, Nolan Arenado would be older. And yes, we already have an aging team, but I'm getting a 10-time Gold Glove third baseman and a guy who's got a bit of pop in his bat still. Yeah, I'll take that over Alec Baum any day of the week. To
Uh,
get, go ahead.
yeah, I mean it's a good question to have, obviously, but I don't know about Arenado though. I mean, I if I would go any further, I would go after like somebody.
I would go after a bullpen piece first. I
Yeah,
wouldn't go
yeah,
after
that's what I was just gonna say. Yeah,
I wouldn't
exactly.
go. I would say Arenado because of the way that they're going to shop Baum around. I
Yeah.
would say Arenado is my fail-safe. Like he's my fallback plan. I'm
Okay.
not saying he's the guy that I'm targeting right out the gate. I'm going to have three bullpen pieces that I'm going to try to get for Alec Baum for the right price tag. And if I can't get any of those three guys, then I'm going to turn to Arenado and see
S-
if I can shore up the defense.
So in a way, it's like your plan B. Like if those things that
Yeah.
go down the tubes and
Yeah.
that's your only option. I got
And
you.
you got to understand, Arenado for a 10-time Gold Glover is a really, really good fallback plan.
No, he
If
is. He
that
is.
if that's your fallback plan, not your primary plan, and it would be. But speaking of the trade deadline, that'll be coming up much like the All-Star game. That's coming up rapidly approaching. My
Mm,
question to you, James, I'm going to put you in the GM position for a
mm,
minute. You
yeah.
have one
Mm.
major trade to get one player. It's going
Ooh.
to either what position will it be? What position? And now, when I say one player, I'm talking about you get your dream player, whatever that guy is. I don't care if it's Mike Trout. I don't care if it's Mason Miller. I don't care who it is. You get
Mm,
one. So
hmm.
one, and you don't lose your whole farm system. We're not talking about that. We're talking about one player you trade for. What play? Like, do you have a player in mind, and what position do you have in mind?
I just thought about this right now. I actually was going to bring up Stephen Kwan from the Cleveland Guardians because the way that the Phillies have that trouble with their outfield, and also I think he's like a center fielder or like he's like an outfielder piece. I said to myself, maybe that's one guy that the Phillies need to bring in. Obviously, Brandon Marsh is good, but he's okay. Okay, he's just okay. But sometimes he's hit and miss once in a while. And then I see this guy Stephen Kwan come up from the Cleveland Guardians, and I said to myself, "Is like, damn, he's pretty good. I think he'll be a good piece that the Phillies will need in that outfield, especially to give. If you want to talk about Trey Turner moving him into the center outfield, I mean, you won't have to move Trey Turner. I think Kwan will be a very good piece to be out in either in the left field corner or in the center field. Obviously, Kepler's your left fielder, obviously, so you're not going to change anything with that. But yeah, I mean, with Stephen Kwan, I think the one thing I like about it is that he's a good piece to have. I think he's a very good piece that if this was my future reference, I would look at Kwan to be a good piece for the Phillies to look at, especially for that center field hole.
And here's what I think, James, and to kind of just piggyback on what you're saying about this. So if we had the discussion earlier about Bryce Harper
Yeah,
and possibly moving him back to the outfield, if you looked at the idea of having Stephen Kwan in center field, Castellanos, and then Bryce Harper as your outfield, that's a really decent outfield. That is a really decent outfield. And then you look at, okay, in the infield, you're looking at a team that honestly, whether you keep Alec Bohm or you don't, and you trade him for a bullpen piece, like I had suggested before, or if you trade him for Stephen Kwan, who knows?
well, I
But
mean, I just looked up his Wikipedia real quick. He's actually a left fielder, but I think you can mix and match with him. Probably
right,
put him like left fielder. Like I mean, like
or
Kepler's not your all day left fielder.
no,
So if you
no,
get rid of Kepler, you could probably go and get Quan. I'll be good with
yeah,
that. And he's
yeah,
young too. He's like 27.
yeah. And so my feeling is, if you whether you got rid of Bomb or not, in the near future, I can see this infield looking, whether Trey moves into the outfield or not. Trey could stay at short.
Yeah.
You have Trey and Stott in the middle infield. You have someone like Otto Kemp could play third. You
Yep.
got a guy, maybe Otto goes to first, and maybe you bring Aiden Miller up. And now you got Aiden Miller, Trey Turner, Bryson Stott, and Otto Kemp in your infield. JT in the back stop. And then you have someone like Quan, Harper, and Castellanos in your outfield, along with Schwarber as your DH. I mean, that's a stack lineup. I
Yeah.
mean, I get it. We don't know what Aiden Miller is yet. I know that we haven't seen enough from Otto Kemp, but from my perspective, there's got to be a turnover at some point. There's got to be a point where we give these kids that are prospects, we have to give them the time of day in the majors. So, to answer my own question about what player I would want, um, I gotta go with a bullpen, a closer.
Yeah.
I'm not sure Mason Miller's the guy I'm going to pick. The guy out of the Tigers organization, the guy who's the closer out of the Tigers organization, the
Yeah.
guy who's the closer out of the Orioles organization. Those two could be possible trade pieces. I just need a guy that we could say for the next at least 5 years will be the closer.
Yeah.
And because I don't care that, Rob Thompson says there doesn't need to be a closer. There does. There
Yeah.
absolutely does. Listen, when 90% of the MLB teams has a assigned closer, and they can't all be wrong. Like
Yeah.
they just can't. So for my benefit, it's a closer. I need to have the guy that, and look, I want to have a guy that comes out to music. I want a guy like, I'm not asking for a Mariano Rivera and coming out to Enter Sandman,
Right.
but I need a guy with some charisma. I need a guy that's gonna come in and be like, I'm shutting the door. It's done. When it's 2-run lead, ninth inning, it's done. When Lidge came out back in '08 and he came out for the ninth inning, you knew it was lights out
Right.
because that's the way Brad Lidge played. We need that again. So that's the piece. Um,
Well, here's the thing too. I want to kind of critique myself here. Obviously, this is like a pipe dream for me to get Stephen Kwan here. Like if that
yes.
had to come down, everybody's gonna say, "Well, Stephen Kwan's like why would the Guardians get rid of him? Like get rid of that player so soon like that?" I was like saying it's my basically if this was like MLB the Show and you had to pick like your Phillies team, what you look like, and you're like if this was like a fantasy like
Well,
like an all Madden team kind of like
James,
that's what I was gonna.
I'll say this. I'll validate your opinion
Yeah,
versus taking away from it.
yeah,
The Cleveland Guardians have been known to sell off high quality prospects or high quality talent. Why?
yeah,
Because they are a low budget team
yep,
that does not pay their stars.
yep.
So my feeling is that's not a pipe dream. I'm not saying it's absolutely going to happen. It's an absolute
Yeah,
certainty.
I was gonna say Jose Ramirez, but people are thinking, dude, are you out of your mind? He's one of the best
Yeah,
players for the
yeah.
Guardians. But I said,
That-
Stephen Kwan's one guy I actually said to myself, he's a very good player that the Phillies could actually need in future references if they ever come down
yeah.
to win.
Well, I mean, look, there's plenty of young guys. I mean, that's the other part. So I knew when I made the question, I said one player, and I
Mm-hmm.
said closer. Um, I go, okay, but then the outfield's still a mess. Okay,
Right.
so what do you do? How do you fix that? Well,
Mm-hmm.
there's a couple ways you could fix that. I'm not saying it's all perfect and flawless, but it's fixable in the sense that I brought it up earlier. You have to bring up this youth to see what they are in the majors.
Mm-hmm.
JT Crawford's been widely mentioned all around. You
Mm-hmm.
have guys like Aiden Miller. You got to see what these guys are, and putting them up in the majors, especially at this point when you may want to sell them off. Uh, if they thrive in the majors, they become either one of two things. Number one, a cornerstone for your team going forward, or B, a really, really uh, valued trade piece for what you want to bring in. It's much like what you're saying about Stephen Kwan. So Stephen Kwan is tearing it up. Okay, good. So can they sell high and get a lot back for Stephen Kwan, where they can get, I don't know, 3 high level prospects for Stephen Kwan? They could. I mean, one player
Yeah, I
is
mean,
one
Alec Boehm's a
player,
good piece. I
but
mean, if
but 3 players is better.
yeah, I mean, Alec Boehm's a good example of that. You could probably trade Boehm for Quan. You can also trade a couple players. I mean, it depends on what kind of players you want to
Yeah.
get back in return. I mean, if it's Justin Crawford, or if it's like Aiden Miller, or even like
Well,
we ever brought
it,
up
it,
Otto Kemper, then it's gonna be like, yeah, it's gonna be a little bit far fetched
it,
there.
it's like what was brought up on this week in Phillies a couple weeks ago
Sure, yeah,
by a good buddy
Mark
Matt.
Baker,
Yeah, Mark. So here's the thing. Look at what the Nationals did when they
right?
traded Juan Soto. They
True.
got 3 guys: C.J. Abrams. They got this guy that's pitching the hell out of the ball. You
Yeah.
know, so you got guys that are studs, and you only had to trade one guy at early on, okay? Because you knew you weren't going to pay Soto.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you traded him high when the price tag was high to get, high level prospects. One player, now you have 3 players with a good turnaround. So the Guardians could do it. It's not out of the realm of possibility. I mean, the idea that I would either take him or
Jose
Tar-
Ramirez.
no, I would go with Tarang.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy, like if he buried us in that series, so I'm like, I would like to have Tarang, sure.
Yeah, man.
So like if we're gonna go with the youth, then I think we need to go with the youth, whether it's in our farm system or whether it's in someone else's, or if it's a guy that just came up. But before you go to any kind of farm system, you might want to go to the fairways. If you're trying to hit the fairways this season, you can check out our great sponsor at PGA Tour Superstore. Tell them more about it, James.
Yeah, Joe, and also today's show is sponsored by our friends over at PGATourSuperstore.com. Hey, golf fans, excuse me, it's time to level up your golf game at PGATourSuperstore.com. Don't miss out on the exclusive opportunity to get your hands on premium golf equipment, including hats, golf clubs, golf tees, and so much more at PGA Tour Superstore. But remember to scan that QR code at the bottom left of your screen right next to these golf players. Or, yeah, like I said, scan that QR code at the bottom left of your screen or visit them online at PGATourSuperstore.com. That's PGATourSuperstore.com today.
So, the next question I have for you, James,
Sure.
is kind of something we kind of brought up earlier about Rob Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
So my question to you, in your mind, in your opinion, if Rob Thompson doesn't bring home the championship this year,
Mm-hmm.
is he gone?
I would think so. I mean, the thing about it with Rob Thompson is that the thing I hate to say this. I mean, honestly, sometimes like when he talks about Bryce Harper's injury this week, I was listening to the camera and Richie on WIP. I think it was a Wednesday or Thursday morning when he was talking about Bryce Harper's significant injury, and Joe DeCamera asked like, "How concerned are you about Harper's injury?" And it sounded like he wasn't like very concerned about. I wouldn't say he was not very concerned about it, but at the same time, he was like, he felt like he didn't answer the question that I thought he was going to ask. I mean, sometimes when I mean, he's done a great job. I'm not going to tell him. I'm not going to say he's done not a horrible job or an awful job. I mean, he got us to a World Series in 2022. He got us back to the NLCS in 23. Last year it was a little bit of hit and miss, but overall, man, I think the other thing that really sticks out to me the most about Rob Thompson is that sure, I mean, he's not one of those guys that gets excited when the team is playing well. And also, I mean, he's kind of like even keeled, like kind of like he has like a Belichick syndrome, kind of like it's not about how many times you win, it's about how much success you have. But overall, I mean, if he doesn't win it this year, Joe, I think for sure, I think he's going after this year. I would best to believe that if Topper doesn't win a World Series here or even try to, I mean, the lineups too that really concern me the most about it is that sometimes when his lineup, it's either that Bryson Stott's leading off or Schwarber's leading off or Trey Turner. It's like, I understand. I mean, there's like sometimes that there's a little bit of like head scratching stuff that he does with this team that drives me crazy about what he's trying to do in regards to the lineup and what he's doing with the starting pitching and when the time calls for the bullpen to come in. But like I said, if he doesn't win it this year, I best believe I think he might be gone.
So for me, I'm kind of in lockstep with you. I feel like if Topper does not win a World Series this year, he's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And why I think that is fairly simple. He's had 4 years to get this done,
Mm-hmm.
and the fourth year has to be because I mean Middleton said this, Dabrowski said this, Topper in some ways he said this. This is a championship team. You can't keep selling that to the fans and not delivering.
No,
You just can't. Not to this fan base, especially.
no,
So he's been selling this notion that this is a championship team. Well, the rubber's got to meet the road, brother. Like
yeah,
you have to get it done. You can't just sit there and be like, "We're going to sell you that this is a championship team, but we're just not going to get a championship." Okay,
yeah,
that's not good enough for me. That's like the Sixers telling me Joel Embiid is fine, and
yeah,
2 days later he's going in for surgery. Like
right,
you can't sell us a bag of goods and then just say, oh, by the way, the bag of goods is a bunch of horse manure.
yeah.
Like, sorry,
Can't have your cake
no,
and eat it too.
yeah. So for me, I think if Topper doesn't get it done, I think John Middleton has to clean house. I think he has to clean house with Dabrowski. I think he's got to clean house with Thompson. As far as I know it, Preston Mattingly might take over for Dabrowski. He's the heir apparent right now. I'd be okay with keeping Preston Mattingly there. I'd be actually interested in bringing his dad in as a manager, who's currently an assistant manager with the Toronto Blue Jays, who
I
are
was
in
gonna
town.
ask you that I was gonna say that's Don Mattingly's son, isn't it?
Yes.
Wow.
So I would be interested in having the Manningleys kind of take over.
Oh hell
Preston in
yeah.
the general manager role, and Don in the the bench boss role.
Yeah.
So I would be interested because right now Don Mattingly is a bench coach for the Toronto Blue Jays. I would most certainly discuss the possibilities of bringing him in and bringing him over and having the Mattingleys try and take this team to the next chapter. And Don Mattingly has had some success as a manager.
He has.
So, I think that is possibly an option on the table. Um, so, James, we're going to end with one question of hope.
Okay.
Hope and possible inspiration.
Desire, hope, and desire.
Yeah. We got to leave people better than they came.
Okay.
And so here's my question to you.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a ray of hope that you have in this team that you can convey to our audience that gives you the feeling that this team could win a World Series this year.
Whew, oh man, you said hope and we said hope and desire, huh?
Yep.
Man, I want to have hope on this team. I want to. Man, I don't know, man. I try the best I can. I look. I love this team. I think they're a very, very exciting team when it matters the most. And also Red October was a fun time to be a Phillies fan back in 2022, obviously 23, and obviously a little bit of last year too. But if I had to give a Phillies a little bit of hope, just be more disciplined at the plate. That's my hope. I mean if that's anything, I just have to say right now, if you want to get to that capability of trying to have that level of success, it has to come with the plate discipline. I mean, they have to do better running the bases. They have to do better at plate discipline, and also they have to find a way. Even that bullpen has to give me a little bit of hope too, especially when it really matters the most, because it's hit and miss sometimes with that bullpen. I'm not worried about their starters. I think their starters are going to be fine. I mean, when Aaron Nola comes back, I mean, we'll worry about that when that time calls for it. I'm not going to be for certain about it whenever he comes back here. And the same thing with Harper too. Whenever he comes back too, hopefully he'll give us a little bit of a sigh of hope too. But overall, if I had to give a little bit of hope, like I said, just you gotta be. I really hope there's more plate discipline, and also we could finally, even though it's June, obviously, hopefully they'll continue to have the same level of success that they have going into the later months in August and September, and hopefully into Red October too.
So my ray of hope for people is this. I hate to quote this guy, but he's accurate. Ruin Amaro would say that the thing that you need in October is pitching, pitching, pitching.
Correct.
So my hope for this team and for this fan base to get behind this team for a World Series championship is get behind these starting pitchers.
Yep.
Like this starting rotation is filthy. And it's getting worse. I mean, it's getting better because we have Zach Wheeler,
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Luzardo, Ranger Suarez had a great game last night. Christopher Sanchez has, been tearing it up.
And
Aaron
McAble.
Nola is going to come back, and he's going to be good. He's going to be healthy. He's going to be fresh.
Don't forget
You,
about McAble, dude.
I was getting there. You got Mick Abel, okay, and then you got Andrew Painter that's coming up.
Right.
far be it for me to say this name because in the beginning of the season I would not have said this name. But you got Tywin Walker, and like he's not suck. He doesn't suck as much as I thought. So, excuse me. You have all
Makes
these
you
starting.
makes you puke in the mouth talking about Taiwan Walker.
Yes, I'm sorry about that.
Have a
I
frog in
couldn't.
your throat.
I get choked up when talking about Tywin Walker. I'm
It's
sorry.
like the same thing when Aaron Rodgers laughing about him being a
Yeah,
Steeler.
I get choked up when I talk about Tywin Walker, and like because he means so much to me. Like, come on. But so, uh, no, this starting pitching
Sure,
that we have that is present now and that could be present later is amazing.
it is.
And I look at it this way, James. There is a part of this hope that everyone ought to look at. I brought it up earlier. We say injuries. There's two major injuries that the Phillies are facing right now: Aaron Nola and Bryce Harper. And we can both go and say that Aaron Nola and Bryce Harper are both stars on this team.
Yep.
But what does their injuries do for us? We get to see two young, bright future players for this organization in Mick Abel and Otto Kemp.
Mm-hmm.
And both haven't, shrunk to the bright lights. They've thrived. I mean, Mick Abel went against Paul Schemes and beat him.
Yep.
Like that in his debut. Like that is ridiculous. That is crazy.
Extraordinary.
Right. So for me, it's a matter of even though there's these injuries that frustrate us, that worry us, these young players that come up, and we still have more to come up, there's a bright future ahead. It's just a matter of when we're going to see it. Is it going to be because of an injury? I mean, we're not going to get to the question right now this week, James, but in the next couple weeks, we may be starting to talk about is there going to start to like will you start to sit some of your veterans like a JT Realmuto or will Marsh or Rojas or Max Kepler be just platoon like they already are, but will they be platooned with another young player like JT Crawford? Like that is possible. There is a lot of hope for this team, and it starts with the starting pitching. And that's one of the reasons why I haven't lost faith because I don't see the starting pitching hitting a wall. I just don't.
Right.
And so that being said, we know that the bats can hit a wall. We've seen that. But this starting pitching, that it's hard to say that they can hit a wall. My opinion is you have Zach Wheeler. He's the one. He's the number one pitcher. Then you have about two or three guys that you could put down as a number two starter in any team's pitching rotation. Luzardo, Sanchez, and Aaron Nola.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So and then Ranger Suarez, he's not a bum, he's a 30 or a 4 at the worst.
Right.
And then you got Taiwan Walker, he's a fifth and a long relief guy anyhow.
Yeah.
And there I go getting choked up again. So the idea with this team is, and Mick Abel is a number two starter in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, James. We have so many number two starters in this pitching rotation. We don't have enough to actually play in the number two role.
It's
Like,
amazing, isn't it?
yeah, we have to sit there and tell Mick Abel, you are the fourth starting pitcher or the fifth starting pitcher. Okay. Like, he's
Yeah,
just
I'm good
happy
with
to
that.
be here. But the guy doesn't pitch like a fifth starter. He pitches like a second starter.
Bona
So,
fide stud.
I'm telling you right now, have hope in this starting pitching because, as Ruben Amaro says, when come October, you need pitching and pitching and pitching.
Yep.
So,
Absolutely.
James, that's going to do it for our show today. I once again want to say we will not be on next weekend. Got my daughter's first dance recital. We will see you closer to the 4th of July. And we will please hit that like and subscribe for both Hardcore Sports Network and for Stream Punk Entertainment PA. Go to the Stream Punk Entertainment PA YouTube page. You will find a lot of interesting things, including our latest episode of the Philly Fame Legends about Mike Schmidt.
Looking
So
forward to it.
this it is a lot of exciting things on the horizon. Go hit that like and subscribe, and make sure to tell your friends. And as I always say on the Facebook posts, join in on the conversation where you can, whether it's commenting or on our show live, or whether it's commenting on the past live streams. So for my guy James Scorza, once again, great job with producing. I'm Joe Marks. We are the Pattison Am Sports Show. We are out. Have a good weekend, Philadelphia, and let's go, Phils.
Let's go, Phils. Happy Father's Day, everybody. We'll see you soon.